Hey everybody, Mike Iaconelli out here in the shop with another great tip for you today. All right, I know what you're thinking. Why are you sitting there in your underwear? Well, today I'm going to be talking about how to dress for wintertime fishing. How to dress for cold conditions. No matter where you're at in the country, sooner or later you're going to experience a cold day, a cold week, a cold time of the year. And getting cold on the water is the worst thing that could happen. Once you get cold, you start shivering, you start thinking about getting home to a warm bed, a warm meal. Once you start thinking about that, your fishing day is done. So today, as ridiculous as this looks, I'm going to go over the strategy that I used, the techniques I developed over a lot of years living in the Northeast, fishing in cold, ice cold conditions. I'm going to go over everything from top to bottom and show you how to dress to keep you warm on those cold winter fishing days. Okay? All right. Let's start with some basics. And the basics are you always want to layer. You want to create seals. And last but not least, remember, the hands, the feet, and the core are the three most important things to keep warm. Okay? Layer, seals, hands, feet, and core to stay warm. Okay? So there are generals. Now let's look at each one, and I'm going to get dressed for you so you can see it. Okay? The first thing is, I like to call them base layers, but if you're an old timer, you might call it thermal underwear. It's really at the basis for everything that I'm going to build on top is our base layers. So many good companies out there that make really nice thermal underwear style gear, okay? And I want both pieces, right? I want thermal pants or base layer pants, and I want a thermal top, long sleeve top, or a base layer top, okay? And I'm going to start with that. So I've got some base layers on right now. Of course, let me mention, I do have underwear on, by the way. That's really important. But we're going to start with the base layers. And when we put these base layers on, remember, seals. We're going to create seals on everything we do. So I've got my base layer pants. I've got my base layer top tucked in to my base layer bottoms, okay? So right off the bat, I'm creating my first seal. I don't want any gaps to the outside air. I don't want any openings to the elements, okay? So base layer pants, base layer top, and I even use base layer socks. My rule of thumb, anytime it's really cold, is I want 2 pairs of socks, okay? I want 2. And just like my base layer bottoms and tops, I use base layer socks. A lot of great socks out there. I'm a big fan of the Heshy sock. These things are unbelievable. They've got a cushioned heel. They've got a cushioned toe. You can see that right there. They're comfortable. These things don't stink. They don't keep the odor. They're really good at staying fresh, okay? So a basic pair of socks, I love the Heshys, for my base layer on the bottom. Once again, I want you to notice, creating seals. So my base layer Heshy sock goes on first. My thermal pant, my base layer pant goes over top. And now I'm going to add my second pair of socks. For my second socks, I'm going to use a heavy thermal type of socks. I love the wool brand socks. This is a more heavy-duty wool sock. And watch when I put these on now. These are going over my Heshy base layer sock, and they're going over the seal that I created here, right? So now these are going right on top. Now these are going over my base layer pant. Look at this, okay? So now I've created 2 seals at the bottom. One on the inside with my Heshy, one on the outside with my heavier thermal sock, okay? So I'm already feeling warm. remember what I said, the most important elements we want to think about: hands, feet, and core. And we're going to see that in a second. Okay, we're going to, you good?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was just anticipating a movement.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
You can pick it up.
Okay. Okay, we're going to keep going, and I want to continue to get dressed and really show you this style. All right, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to put on my pants, and a lot of good pants out there. I'm a huge fan of Afco style pants that are weather resistant. These are wind resistant. They're water resistant. It's a great shell, and it gives me another layer. So I'm going to go with the pants. Okay, got my pants on. Now, before I put my next upper layer on, I'm going to throw you a giant bone. And this is something I learned a lot of years back. And remember what we said: hands, feet, head, core, right? These are the main places we want to keep warm. Right there. This is a Thermacare heat wrap. A lot of companies make them. You can get them online. You can get them at a pharmacy. You can get them at a Walmart. And it's a body wrap. So these things were designed for when you have back pain. And it's basically a chemical warmer. Look at that thing. It uses the charcoal pads. So once it hits the air, it activates. And I'm going to wrap this around. Remember what I said? I'm going to wrap this around my core, okay? It's real nice because it has little Velcro area on it. And I never want to put it directly to my skin, but I put it over top of my first base layer. And this thing's going to generate heat throughout the day, and it's going to warm my core. Very, very critical, okay? Next top, now over this thermal base layer, I like to put a long sleeve shirt. When it's really cold, I'm a big fan of this Afco. It's a long sleeve. It's got a little thermal lining to it. It's a little bit warmer, but I want to add a long sleeve shirt top over this top base layer. So I'm going to put this thing on. It's giving me another layer. This is going to cover up my heating pad. Now watch this. You ready? I'm going to tuck this into my Afco pants. And I'm creating yet another seal. Okay, I want to make sure this is tucked in. Creating another seal. All right. I'm going to get this buttoned up. Okay. All right, I'm already getting warm. Now, we're inside, but every time I put a layer on, I'm feeling warmer and warmer. Okay? All right, let's keep going. I want to add one more really critical component for when you're dressing for cold, and that is a sweatshirt. That is a sweatshirt. And you want a sweatshirt that can really keep stuff out, can keep the elements out, keep you dry. And this is the Aftco Reaper hoodie. I can honestly tell you, this is the best sweatshirt I've ever worn in my life. In addition, the nice thing about the Reaper is it's got a built-in buff. And that buff is not only good for when the sun is out to keep the sun off you, but it's great for keeping the cold off your face. Remember, hands, feet, head, core, right? This is a great sweatshirt with that built-in Reaper element, that built-in shield, okay? So I'm putting the sweatshirt on. All right, this thing on. And you're gonna see this, look at this. Look at that. How amazing is that? A built-in buff right into the Reaper itself. So when it gets cold, that can go over my cheeks, my mouth, and really does a good job of keeping my face warm, okay? Look at this. Look at this layering I've got going on to keep myself warm. The great thing about all these layers, a lot of this Afco stuff that you're looking at, it's breathable, and it's got a fit to where I don't feel constricted or tight. This is a normal fit, right? So I'm keeping myself warm, but not restricting my movements. at all. Okay, next thing we talked about feet, and the next step, the next stage that I do is a really important thing too, and that is your footwear. The best socks in the world will not hold up if you don't have good quality footwear. So in cold weather, I get rid of the flip-flops, I get rid of the sneakers, and I go to a boot style footwear that's insulated, right? These happen to be have Gore-Tex in them. They're lined. If you look at the inside of that boot, they're actually thermally lined on the inside. And this is honestly a hunting style boot, but a hiking boot, a boot that has good thermal lining or Gore-Tex, that's a key element. And before I put these on my feet, I'm going to use another chemical warmer. You know, this time I'm going to use a more traditional toe warmer that can go on the inside of the sole of that boot, or my favorite are the chemical warmers that are the length of the insole, right? Now that's going to keep your entire foot warm. These things come out of the pack. Once they hit air, that charcoal activates, it starts producing heat, and these just stick right on the inside of the boot, okay? So I'll get these long insoles, I'll stick them in the boot, and I'll get them warm as I put on my final outside layer. And just like the boot is key, this suit is key. And whether you want to call it an outerwear suit or a rain suit or an all-weather suit, whatever you want to call it, just like the boot, this is a super important element. This is the warmest rain suit, outerwear suit I've ever worn in my life. This is the Aftco Hydronaut. It's got bib-style pants. It's got a nice heavy-duty jacket. And this is the last layer that I'm going to put on. And think about that. When I put that suit on, just like everything was a seal, right? Look, I'll put it on to show you. I'm sealing up the outside. Look at this. I'm sealing up the outside elements. I'm keeping that cold out. Look at this. Heavy-duty zipper. My bibs go on. Last but not least, I've got my jacket. And I want to show you, this is a really cool part of the Hydronaut, and I want to give you a good close-up of this, is how you can really keep these seals on your hands, right? So they have two Velcro closure systems. So an inside closure, and I'll get that nice and tight, and then my outside closure, I get that nice and tight. There's no way anything's getting inside of that suit, okay? So outerwear suit, your boots, so important. This is the last piece. Finally, last but not least, I'm going to put my boots on after my bibs are on, right? I'm going to slip these things on. I've got my feet nice and warm. I've got my legs, my body's warm. All right, we're almost there. I know this is a lot. You're saying, I didn't know there was that much involved in dressing for cold weather and dressing for wintertime fishing. But this is going to keep you warm. Last but not least, we said feet, hands, head, core. We got the core taken care of. Now let's go to the last elements, okay? I like a really nice quality wool style hat. Afco makes a couple great ones. The nice thing about these wool hats, I can put them right over top of my ball cap. There you go. It's keeping the top of my head. This particular model covers my ears. It's keeping my ears warm. Remember, with the Reaper, I've got the built-in buff, okay? Finally, the exclamation point is a good pair of gloves. And there's a lot out there on the market. Some are fingerless, some have the full fingers. I'm a huge fan of this fingered Afco glove. Keeps my fingers warm. It's pretty well water resistant. It's got the touch fingers to where I can still use my Lowrance touchscreen or my iPad or my phone. And these things are going to keep my hands warm during the course of the day. Let me tell you, dressing for winter isn't as easy as putting a hat on and a sweatshirt. Think about those elements we talked about, right? Layering, so important. Creating seals. Never leave a body part exposed to the element. And then last but not least, remember those key focal points where you're going to lose heat. Your feet, your hands, your head, your core. Keep those things warm, and you're going to be prepared for the coldest fishing conditions you've ever experienced in your life. I hope you enjoyed this in the shop, talking about how to dress for cold wintertime fishing. Man, if you like this kind of stuff, if you're a fan of these in the shops, do me a favor, stop right now, hit that subscribe button, mash it. If you're already a subscriber, dude, tell your friends, tell your buddies, tell your fishing pals about Mike Iaconelli Fishing on YouTube. We've got a brand new in the shop coming to you every single week. Good luck, good fishing, and stay warm. I'm going fishing. See you later.